Okay, sir. All right. I was recognizing Bayo Bob, a psychologist who is going to be part of this interesting debate. We're also going to have Kwame Gonza, Director of Media and Publicity, that is KNII Ghana, United African State, and now advocate. Then we're going to have Elem Rodney, the Deputy Executive Director, Research and Training, Kwame Nkrumah Ideological Institute. And my name is Oremo Odwe Nkrumah. I'm coming live from Uganda, around the hills of Wandegea. You're very much welcome for this wonderful debate. The number is going to be growing as we move on with the debate. The links have been shared, and I want to send my greetings to whoever is not in Uganda, but you're in the other parts of the African continent. A very good evening. Here in Uganda, it is 8 p.m. You're welcome to this debate. I want to kick off immediately by giving you a precursor to what we're going to discuss this evening. I hope you're still with me. You can hear me clearly. Can I confirm with anyone?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, thank you so much, Judge Justice. Now, the question we are having here is a very contentious question that we really need to give keen interest and time. Is Africa selling itself to China? It is a very interesting question. We need to trace back and look at the things which are happening in the African continent between African countries and the Chinese government, or the leadership of Xi Jinping and the rest of the leaders that came before him. Just to give you some little highlight, you realize that as we speak right now, China has taken a lot of interest into African affairs. Just in Makerere University, there is an institute where Chinese language is being trained to students at a free cost. And in Kenya alone, there are over 5 institutions that are training the Chinese language. And this is scattered all over the 54 African countries. And when they are teaching you this language, they don't just teach you the language, but also teach you the culture of China. They teach you the doctrines and the norms of the Chinese society. Leaving that aside, we shall also look at the way China has entered the investment world or the investment sector of most of the African countries and deeply investing humongous amounts of money. If you come to Uganda, you realize that most of the swamps and wetlands have been taken up by Chinese companies in lines of agriculture and even the manufacturing departments. And this is happening everywhere in Africa. As of now, as I speak, most of the African countries are having huge debts that they're supposed to pay to the Chinese government, with, I think, Ethiopia, Democratic Republic of Congo, Mozambique, and Angola being the leading countries that actually have a huge debt burden to clear back to the Chinese government. And sometimes these debts are turned into mortgages. Properties are being confiscated from the African countries because of the heavy debt burdens that they cannot clear. I want to welcome you for this debate. I want to start by Bayo Bob, a psychologist. Let us know your view over this topic of debate. Where is Africa heading? Are we deliberately, as Africa, selling the African continent to the Chinese? Or what do you make of this? What can you say about this? It is a very contentious question. Bayo Bob, if you can hear me, you can please come on the platform. Right.
Thank you very much,
if he's not there,
the eloquent and clear moderator. And I also thank the African. Yes, please. Yes, please.
Yes, please. Go on.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I also thank you for organizing such an interesting debate, which I think is very timely and much needed, because it's closely tied to the fortunes of our generation and the generations to come after us. And with regards to today's question, is Africa selling itself to China? I think the answer is resounding yes. We are absolutely selling ourselves to China. And why I say this is because of the numbers that we have. To begin with, the number of loan commitments between African countries, the Chinese government, and Chinese financial institutions in 2000 and 2019 is 1,141, which is not a number that should be taken for granted considering the magnitude of these loans and the amounts that are signed. And then another exciting thing, another reason that has convinced me to state that Africa is indeed selling itself to China is because of the Chinese model of loans. We realize that China is using the resource-backed kind of approach, where, for example, they say, okay, we'll give you $10 billion, but then we'll manage your gold mines. That approach has been seen in Congo, where a Chinese entrepreneur was supposed to build roads.
Please, Bio Bob, if you could please put on your camera so that we can visualize you as you communicate.
Okay. Yeah, I was at the verge of saying.
Yeah, all right.
China uses the resource-backed kind of operation whereby they say we're going to build you roads for your gold mines. We have seen this in Congo, where a Chinese company called CCCC was supposed to build roads for Congo in exchange for Congo's diamond mines. But years later, the roads have not been seen in Congo, but the diamonds are disappearing, which I think is something that should be of great concern. Something similar was seen in Ghana, where China was to build 2 roads in exchange for Ghana's bauxite deposits. So I think this kind of operation is something that's very fishy, and even more worrying, I think, should be the fact that most of the details of these loans are not in the public domain.
Liberation on how China has actually injected money into multi-billion projects in the African continent, giving an extract of Congo with a lot of road projects which are being funded by the government of the People's Republic of China. I want to bring in the other panelists, and that is Elem Rodney Nyong'o, who is also the Director Training and Research at the Kwame Nkrumah Institute. Elem Nyong'o, I want to give you the platform. You're welcome, sir. Please take us through what is your take on this matter? It is very.
Thank you very much, Mr. Remo. I hope you're getting me. Am I loud?
You're loud and clear, sir.
All right. So yes, I'm so grateful to be part of this discussion, and it is a very contentious issue that we should always address, because it's something that we can't easily comprehend right now, but it might have some future effects or implications on the continent. Apparently, talking about China, when this discussion probably just it's trying to pull us closer to blaming or to looking at maybe the African leaders. It's just like asking that, aren't the African leaders selling Africa to China? I think that would be like the simplest way of understanding this topic. In this aspect, we should understand that China has a population of 1.4 billion compared to Africa that has 1.3 billion people. Like the population of Africa is 1.3 and China is 1.4. But Africa has the geography of Africa is 11.7 million square miles, and compared to China, that is 9.6 billion square miles. But you realize that yes, Africa is a big continent, and China also is just a country, but a country that is strategic enough to know how it should deal with its internal problems. And it is out, and its issues right now is now to ensure that it develops its foreign policies that are strong enough to establish its powers beyond its borders. Because China right now with its population, it can't contain all these people in in China itself. So they're trying with their level best to see a way of trying to establish their powers elsewhere, just as America is doing it, just as Europe did it before. they are trying to do that. That's how they can be strong enough to ensure they have the power to control the resources and ensure that their populations become strong enough to always endure with the changes that they've always tried to push for. And remembering that China, as a country that has right now has one of the highest levels of technological advancements, it has oversupply of goods. And having oversupply of goods would make it so much dangerous for it to be internally focused. There's need for international trade to exist. But then for it to exist, then it has to create linkages with the African continent, a continent where most of its population are consumers of things from outside. So it makes Africa a dumping point or a dumping place for their resources or their manufactured goods that are either low quality or high quality. And most times China, when it's trying to bring its things to Africa, they are more of second class or third class. That's why most of us complain about Chinese products. But emphasizing on this topic, for us to understand that maybe African leaders are trying to sell off Africa to China, I would tend to first direct you guys to the Standard Gauge Railway, a project that was initiated in Kenya. That was supposed to be part of what we call the Northern Corridor project. That was supposed to incorporate Kenya, most of the East African countries, Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, and parts of South Sudan, and with future prospects of extending it to DRC. But partly this was the project that was initiated in Kenya, and it has partially got some kind of success. And remembering that East Africa had the meter gauge railway before the standard gauge railway that was established by the colonial administration. This standard gauge railway was probably Kenya's initiative. It wasn't pushed by the Western world. It wasn't pushed by China. But Kenya, as a government, felt like it should establish or should initiate this project, the Standard Gauge Railway project. And here comes a problem that we don't understand probably. The African problem here is that we have that desire to enter the modern world in a big way. And that's the only problem that we have. And having that desire makes us captives of this Western and Eastern, let me say, the Eastern parts of Europe and the Western parts of Europe. We become vulnerable to their technological advancements. We tend to become vulnerable to their technological advancements in a way that most times, even when we are to advance on our sides of doing things in the continent, we feel like we don't have enough. So we should always rely on China. We should rely on Europe and all other countries. But these just do explain to us that we have failed to establish internally transformative capacities to ensure that we can strongly at one point also challenge their technologies. But since we are now just a dumping place of their resources and all their technologies, we become too vulnerable to their to their advancements in a way that even our governments themselves they tend to lobby for resources from this China. And you have to remember one thing: when China gives a loan to Africa or to any country in Africa, it doesn't give it by giving it money exactly, but it will tell you that we are going to give you $1 billion. Let me give an example of the Kenya's Standard Gauge Railway. It had to cost $3.8 billion US. One of the most expensive projects in Kenya. But remember, this alone is not just a development project, but it has also added on to the debt burden of Kenya. Right now, Kenya is one of the most hard of countries in Africa that has the highest debt burdens by the Western and China's governments. They have gotten a huge debt burden that has been caused by their dependency on these other Western worlds and also China itself, because they have the desire to develop or to enter the modern world in a big way. And that's the problem right now. They want to try to create something that they can't maintain, that they can't sustain. Because even when you now ensure that you create this standard gauge railway, the issue is that when it gets some little problems, you still call the Chinese to come and what? To come and maybe maintain, or maybe to rehabilitate, or maybe to again improve on its workability. And that would still make you dependent on those people who initiated the project. So right now, if at all we had said that now China is paying Kenya like 3.8 billion US dollars to establish this project. And we have to remember that the interest rates are to be 2% for every year for a period of 20 years. After 20 years, if at all Kenya refuses to pay this money, Kenya will be what? So vulnerable in that they might end up going for their resources. And that is and that's how the Chinese do it. They make it so slow and simple, but very, very dangerous for the country. You get? So now, this is now the problem that we are having. Yes, we want development, we want technological advancements, but these come with a cost. Yes? So the problem now comes in that our African leaders, they want to prove a point to the African natives that they're doing something. But what they're doing is again causing the continent a very big problem. And that is now over-depending on the Western world or China for technological advancements. You get? Now we have to depend on them because on sophisticated machineries, phones, cars, even chairs. Can you imagine even some of the chairs that we have in Uganda are made from China, even plates, can you imagine? So this is now a big problem because China, as it advances these projects, it always gives some conditionalities, and that is 70% of the products to be transported by this standard gauge railway, or like the railways, or like the system that they will be establishing, should be transporting China's things into the interior. You get? So most of what China is doing is probably being pushed by the African countries or African leaders. They are at the mercy of China, and China is pretending. In the art of war, we say that war is built on deception. So China is being formless, much as it has its intentions, but it has concealed its intentions in a way that we can't probably know whether China is trying to do this because it has its own selfish interest. Because China doesn't have its military over maybe supervising that they're trying to establish. It is doing it in a soft way, and it is now upon our governments to see whether they can do something on their own. But they are still demanding, like even for the instance of Uganda here. Uganda has 9.4 billion US dollars.
Elem Nyongo, what has happened? We have lost Elem Rodini, who has been deliberating on China's interest into African affairs, and he has been giving us statistics. He very, very passionately talked about the humongous amounts of money that are being spent to build a standard gauge railway in Kenya. Thank you so much, Elem Nyongo. Later on, we're going to bring him when he gets back, when his network stabilizes. I'm coming live from Wandegear. I think some of you could be knowing where I'm coming from, those who stay around Uganda, but our Western African counterparts may not be aware. Allow me welcome those who have just joined the debate. I have seen a few more people have joined the house. We're looking at China's interest in Africa, and the question we're asking ourselves is Africa selling itself to China? We want to hold this debate and look at. Elem Rodney, you've been off. You went off. I think you had.
I think it was my network. I'm sorry for that. As I was still continuing, I'm saying that. Can I continue, Oremo?
You'll come in a little bit later. You'll come in a little bit later. So thank you very much. I was welcoming those who have just joined in. This is the Justice Media, owned by the CEO of this media is Professor. I call him Professor. He's riding on the footsteps of Professor Kanyehamba, the former judicial officer in Uganda. Judge Justice Kanyehamba is the CEO of African Justice Media, is the one who organized this debate and invited me to moderate. Thank you so much, sir, once again. Those who have just joined, we're looking at the Afro-African existence or relationship? What causes the interest that China has so much in the African continent that when you trump the African countries, the 54 African countries, you're going to realize that China, what is it that China wants from Africa, and who is causing China's penetration into the African continent? Those who have just joined, thank you so much. Allow me bring in our colleague from Ghana. That is Gonza Kwame. He has the Kwame name, a name of one gentleman, an ancestor whose school of thought I belong to, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Thank you so much. Well, I welcome you with the nostalgia I have about Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Thank you. Welcome to the platform.
Hey, before you welcome him, I would like to say something. I'm raising my hand and you cannot see it. Why is that? Why is the chat room not open for discussions? I only see it's limited to 2 people, and I thought we can use it to discuss and share what the hosts can be sharing. We can use it for a discussion, we as the non-participants. Okay, the people that are not sharing, please open it up to everyone, because I've tried and it's not working.
It's all right, madam. Let me try to connect with Judge Justice to work on that as soon as possible, so that we can really have an active chat room. Thank you for the correction. Let me welcome Kwame Gonza as Judge Justice works in the chat room. You're welcome. Yes, you're still putting up your hand. You still have something to say again? Yes, madam.
No. I'm putting it down. Sorry.
It's all right. It's all right. Yes, Kwame, are you
Kwame
on?
Gonza will come at 9. He's still doing something little.
It's all right. Thank you so much. So, so Rodney, you can finalize what you were saying in 8 minutes before we can now bring in another panelist.
All right, I was still saying that Uganda has a debt burden of 9.4 billion US dollars. And it has been seen as a bad debt. Should I say the chart that has the most debt burden maybe countries in the continent, but Uganda has a 9.4 billion US dollars debt burden. But now, if at all we are to now advance on this standard gauge railway, it will mean that because the standard gauge railway has been postulated to be 12.4 billion US dollars, if at all it is to be actualized, yes, if at all it is to be actualized in Uganda. But remember one thing, Uganda wants to establish this project and people feel like Uganda is delaying, but they're not knowing that much as this project has to be established, it will double, it will triple the debt burden that Uganda has right now. And Uganda has its hope. Yes, Uganda has its hope in the oil and gas industry that might be actualized in 2027. That we are yet to also now, also believe maybe it will work out even in that year. Maybe it might even go to 2030. But they're trying to have that hope that yes, we might have that debt burden, but we might finance it back maybe by the time we discover our oil and maybe make good use of it. But you have to remember one thing, that when a country is at the mercy of other countries because of this debt burden, it becomes too vulnerable. Remember one thing, that every dollar that comes into the continent represents $4 going outside the continent. Either you want it or not, that's what some researchers have known. And it becomes a big problem right now. We want to develop very well and want to ensure that our natives, or like our indigenous people, know that we are creating a change. But this change comes with some costs, and the costs are now in terms of the debt burden. So now it reaches a moment when we'll now be blaming our countries for the debt burden and all that. And when there's the country servicing the debt burdens, the debts, it will always find itself offering less of the services to the people. That's why, like in Uganda here, we have now, most have been privatized. That's because they want to look for a way of servicing these debt burdens in a way that will again affect the lives of the natives. So that's all I can first say for now, but I will come back later on. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Hello. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Rodney, for your deliberation. People in the audience, I'm very much sure that you really are noting what these panelists are talking about. We are here to debate and answer the question that is here before us. Is Africa selling itself to the Chinese government or to China as a country, because China has humongously invested in African affairs? Yeah, let me bring in the other panelist. That is, you said
Can I
Gonza
say
is
something?
okay.
Excuse me,
Try.
can I say something?
It's okay.
Can I say something before the next panelists come on board, please?
It's okay. It's okay, sir. It's okay. You
All
can
right.
tell us.
All right. The question or the topic for the debate is Africa selling itself to China or Chinese civilization as at now? And the brother that spoke last actually mentioned some things happening in Uganda, then the likes of Kenya and other countries in Africa, and Nigeria as a country, as a case study also. We should take note of this. African leaders are selling us as the youth to the next generation in which Chinese civilization is creating. We should know that Chinese people are coming in with soft loans just to own or to sabotage our land. They are coming in at a very fast pace. Any country that is borrowing loan from China now, we at this moment be experiencing China trooping into the country. Then at a certain point in time, there will be sabotaging of the population of that particular country. I think it's Rwanda. You can correct me, please, if I'm wrong. There's a country in Africa where China now owns their seaports, and I think so. If this continue, if we youth of Africa continue to look at this, we will fall under the slavery of China once again. And I don't think either of us on here is ready to go through that learning of Chinese language. We've seen what this has done to our forefathers. The major thing I want us, though I really salute the gathering of the intellect on here, and the major thing I want us to actually debate on is our unity. The leaders of Africa, they will keep on selling us out. It's not for us to debate. The leader will keep selling us out because as at now, they don't have the power to control our own resources. That's what's happening. So they need external power. That's why they keep going for loans. And the loans are going to keep coming in when China say, okay, they can't control their own natural resources. So China will keep on owning Africa little by little. Then with time, we might be no more.
Okay.
They are over 500.
Are you still on?
Go on. It's okay.
Yes, thank you so much. Are you still on? Hello?
Yeah, hello, I'm here.
Yes,
I'm here.
my brother who has just submitted. My brother was just submitted. We
sorry,
would love
I
you
didn't
to
introduce
picture for
myself. Okay, okay. You might not be able to see me clearly.
Your name is?
My name is Yakini Jamiu Oyeniyi.
Oyeme.
Oyeniyi.
Oyeniyi.
Yeah, I'm from Nigeria.
Okay, thank you so much, my Nigerian counterpart. I would like you to picture for us. While submitting, you dwelled so much about, you dwelled so much on the leaders, the kind of leadership we have in Africa that have actually gone into transacting and, creating a lot of contracts with the Chinese government. And in the long run, this is, turning the loans actually this kind of leaders. And what can be done to curb this kind of, leaders who actually do not mind about the future and the plight of their countries, but go ahead to transact deals which they know will actually have negative consequences on the country. Well, where is the problem? Where do you think the problem is?
We are the problem. We youths are the problem. That's it. I think we youths need to address this. We don't know the value and the essence of our unity. I think we should start teaching that in everywhere we go. You see, any leader in Africa, we rather meet a group of youths that are ignorant about the future than to meet a group of youths like me and you that know what's the future we actually say when they keep borrowing. I hope you get what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I'm getting you.
So if our leader keep doing this, the problem is not our leader borrowing. The problem is how they get there in the first place. Our leaders are just bunch of, I'm sorry to say this, and I'm not sorry at the same time. They are a bunch of ignorant and stupid people that doesn't care about the tomorrow of our own tomorrow. Because now we are living today as the youth of African land. Come tomorrow, we'll be the one in the leading position. We'll be called the leaders of tomorrow. And before the tomorrow that we are anticipating for, we need to make sure that there are some things in place. Let me come in from this angle. China as a country is a whole bunch of 1.3 billion people in one space. That's the magnitude of China. And us in Africa, we are 1.4 billion people, but separated by artificial borders created by our colonial masters. Now, this is a soft solution in which I think we might benefit greatly from. If everyone of us here can at least enlighten our youth. In Nigeria, the election is rapidly coming in 2023. Another set of unruly and stupid people are going to come in, then everything remains the same for the next 4 or 8 years, if God says. We need to start enlightening people about our unification. In our lifetime, we need to unify Africa. Getting loan, we can actually solve that later on. But our leaders
my
solve
brother.
that themselves. Okay, go on.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your submission.
I'm submitting temporarily.
Thank you very much for your submission. He has said the problem is with the youth, we the young people of Africa. We are the problem. Yeah, there are very many hands coming up from the audience. I want to request that you be a little bit patient. I'm going to open the floor later for everyone to actually make a submission. I hope you note some of these views which are coming from this panelist, so that by the time we open the microphone for the public, you can actually remember and still on stuck with what you want to submit. I want to right now bring in another panelist, and that is Rujumba Crescent. If you're on, please, you may take the microphone and take us through. The question is really very, very contentious. Is Africa selling itself to China? It's a very, very broad question that we really need to desolidify. Is Africa selling itself to China? Answer for us this question, Crescent Rujumba.
I'm so sorry, my phone is kind of acting up. Let me set it up a little bit, then I can see what I can say.
as Crescent comes in, I want to request that anyone who is going to be given a platform to submit, please, before you submit, you open up your video, unmute your video so that we can see you, then introduce yourself, because we have different people from all walks of life in Africa. You have just seen our brother who is from Nigeria, so we really need to get to know ourselves. Let the panel, let the audience know who is speaking and from where, from which angle of the continent. I'm speaking live from the hills of Wandegia at Makerere University. A second-year student of journalism and communication. You're welcome, Crescent.
Okay, thank you so much, Remo, for I think you can get me. First clarify on that. My phone is acting up a little bit. Okay, thank you so much.
You're
Crescent Rujumba. Crescent Rujumba is my name. I've been a student at Makerere University for the last 3 years. Therefore, I'm just looking forward to graduation. I've pursued a bachelor's in education, literature, and English. And as I speak now, I'm in the tourism city of Uganda, that is Fort Portal City, the pearl of Africa. That's what I can say. So I'm very glad to be here. And all I can say is I'm proud to see young people seated and comfortably discussing certain issues that pertain us as an African population. Now, let me directly take the honor that you've given me to give a little contribution to our topic today. Is Africa selling itself to China? I'll add a little thing. Or are we seeking refuge, or are we running to someone for help and it's a wrong destination? These are all questions that came to my mind when I saw the topic we're going to discuss. Now, Africa having relations, that is financial relations or any diplomatic in itself, is nothing as a cause for alarm. It actually signifies a crave for an African people to see themselves develop, to see how they can modernize themselves to the extent they are seeing others rise. Therefore, that in itself is no cause for alarm. That is, if you dispatch it from history, the historical context. But the moment you bring in the historical context, which I would like to, you allow me a little bit to bring in the words of Patrice Lumumba, the famous Kenyan professor. I was watching one of his videos, I think it was last week, and he mentioned that one of the problems of Africa is its hospitality, that we have been groomed to be hospitable people. He says that, first of all, the Arabs came. We welcomed them. They abused us. We did not care. The Arabs came. We opened our hands. I mean, the Portuguese. The Portuguese came. We opened our hands, welcomed them. They abused us. The British came. We opened our hands and welcomed them. They abused us. The French came. We welcomed them. They abused us. What does it take for an African person to learn that every other single person who shows interest in Africa does it for themselves and not for our own self? He says that now the Chinese are coming, and oh, the hospitable Africans are opening up their hands to welcome them. And what are they doing? They are abusing us. How are they abusing us? They're taking over a lot of space. That's one. I was watching another very clear video, and these people mentioned, and this is the most important thing I want you to listen to. Everyone has quoted how China's population is exploding against the space they have. It is said that the Chinese who come to Africa are those that they think do not have space in China. So how can we take you into another place like Africa so that you can create space there? We do not need your services so much in China, but because we care so much about the Chinese people, you can find refuge in a blank continent called Africa. And they come, we see them as our saviors, we welcome them, and we praise them every single day in everything they're doing. To an extent that when they are opening Confucius Institutes in every single university, I'm proud to say I've been at Makerere University. But because Confucius Institute is in the Department of Languages and I've been studying languages, every single person in my class out of the 370 students I've studied with was looking forward to having a bursary or a scholarship to go into the Confucius Institute and study Chinese language, because we were promised opportunities. That I have to say, because a lot of the teachers who teach there are actually our own instructors. They promised us opportunities. They like, the ground of application of the Chinese language is grandiose. Just finish that, come, we will give you jobs. The Confucius Institute is not only in Makerere University, it is almost in every single big university in Africa. So the question is, why are they doing this? And we'll all answer that individually. Why are they bringing their own police? Actually, somebody mentioned that everywhere they go to, for example, start an infrastructure development, they bring their own security with them. That is literally colonization, something we're not seeing. I am not here to lament or quarrel about or make a rant about the Chinese people coming here, because every single nation in its sane minds will always want to expand. The question is not to blame China, but us to build protective walls against their influence. To develop as Africa, not as China. How can Africa, the day Africa gets its own development model, it's the only day we will be free from external sabotage. That's all. That's my belief, and that's something I have to say. Maybe other members will add from there. Thank you so much, Oremo, and I'm happy to continue with this discussion. Back to you.
All right. Thank you very much, Crescent. Thank you very much, Crescent Rujumba. He actually talked about what I said as a precursor to this discussion, the issue of China establishing institutions in almost all public universities across Africa to teach the Chinese language to the young people of Africa. But while watching a Kenyan video, there's a young man who actually happened to have gone to an institution where they were teaching them the Kenyan language. He explains how the instructors teach the students. They go beyond teaching the language, because the main goal of teaching the language would be communication, but these instructors go as far as teaching the societal norms, the cultures, and the beliefs of the Chinese. Actually, they teach them how to be Chinese, not just to know the Chinese language. I think it is a deep thing that we need to look at so much. At this point, I think the other panelist, Gonza from Ghana, Kwame, is not yet in the house. Allow me bring in this lady. She has been putting up her hand for some good time. That is Ngave Y Salifu from Kwame Nkrumah Ideological Institute. You're welcome to the panel. Take the microphone.
Thank you very much, Mr. Oremo. Yeah, I'm Nyave, presently based in Dubai, United Arab Emirates. I've been listening to many of my fellow Africans stating their positions with regards to China. It's unfortunate to listen to most of the things being said on this Zoom meeting. This is because many of it are just kind of hearsay. Many of it are just Western propagandas that have been imbibed by most people trying to present it here. I will ask one question. How many of you have ever have an opportunity to read any contract signed between China and any of our governments? That is one. Anybody here? No. Okay. Next thing I'll ask is, you've read one.
Yeah, but not in
Yes.
English language, written in Mandarin language.
Okay.
Signed by Rotimi Amechi, Minister for Transportation here in Nigeria.
Okay. Can you just tell us a little thing about the contract? What was the contract all about?
Okay, the contract actually states that if Nigeria as a country can't afford to pay back the loan in which China has given to Nigeria. China has all right to come in and own any feasible assets in which Nigeria has used the money they borrowed to build.
Okay, thank you very much.
Nyaka, I would also want to say something about the nature of the contracts.
Okay.
As I had said earlier on, China is being formless in the process of making its interest revealed in the continent. Give you an example of the Standard Gauge Railway. It had given a condition to these East African countries to have their parts sorted out before they can give the loans. I give you an example of the Standard Gauge Railway, where they say that for 5% of the or of the part of the loan to finance the project, and 15% has to be picked by the government. That's one of the conditionalities. The second one is to compensate the persons, the PAPs, the project affected persons, before they can accept any contract with any African country that wants to advance with the idea of the Standard Gauge Railway. And also, they would say that the interest would be 2% every year. It's for a period of 20 years for the loans to be paid back, without which they would probably come and take any resource or anything that they feel is worth the money that they had put in the project in that country. And apart from that, yeah, like if they've made it so clear that if at all that to make this project here happen, it should be possibly the African countries specifically that are the ones to push for this. That's why in the context of Kenya and Uganda, our countries are fully pushing themselves to get the loans. They're creating all conditionalities to make sure that these things here happen. It's not mostly the China, pushing them to do that, but much as China wants African for this project to be actualized,
okay,
much as they want to get the loans from the budget.
Okay, thank you guys very much for your input. One thing I want you to understand when it comes to international contracts, there are certain assets of the country that are that the other foreign country cannot take over. That is one. And then secondly, you have to understand that anywhere, even within the villages in Africa, when somebody gives you loan, the person needs a guarantee. You know that. And then thirdly, when you say that China can come in and take whatever, no, it doesn't happen like that. That is just what people are saying. When you look at the contract, you will see the clauses are very clearly written. China is not forcing African countries to take loans. We have to understand that China is not just coming to Africa now. China had been with Africa ever since when Africans were fighting for independence. Many of you are so young that you do not even know how much China contributed in African liberation. China had been with Africa when we were fighting. And then secondly, Africa made China in a way, because without the support of Africa at the United Nations, the Chinese seat would have been handled by Taiwan. So China knows this, and China are kind of paying back. There are many African countries that in the 80s supported China with aid. So what China is doing is not like, they are kind of paying back. And the conditions that China has given us for the loans, ask yourself, we've been with the others for how many years? And what were the conditions given to us for our loans? You know, the structural adjustment program, you know, even what IMF and World Banks are doing today. How much do we take loans from them? And how much percentage do China give us for loans? And the opportunity that China has presented to us is the one that many of us Africans or many African countries have failed to take the right way. Because when you send people who are not professional in negotiation to gain, they set you. So that is what happening between Africa and China. You don't, just like you, Comrade LM said, you don't put the blame on China. The blame is on African countries who are sending novice or non-professionals to go and negotiate contracts with professional Chinese. You know, there's a famous YouTube video by one African lady who used to work with the World Bank. He said, in the World Bank office in Washington, they laugh and everybody is happy to go to Africa to negotiate contracts, because when they go to Africa, the people who are there to sign the contracts are so happy to just come, sign and ask what is there for me. Not what is there for the country, but what is there for me. But when they are sent to Asia, nobody wants to go, because when you go to Asia, they take their time. You give them something, they will have to take and examine it left and right, north and south, east and west, before they will come to agree. But in Africa, we are very easy to rush to accept what is there as long as something is given to you as kickbacks. So China is an opportunity presented to Africa that Africa or African countries have to take and know how to get it, how to use it. Because when you go, I'll give you one example. China had a contract to build a railway in one Asian country. What happened is the government at the time, the guys who were involved in discussing the contract, went there and inflated the bill. But what are the Chinese doing? The Chinese want a project. Say, okay, if you want this money for your kickbacks, get it included in the contract. When the money is paid, you take it. So when the next government came, they said that the bill was inflated. And then when they did investigation, they discovered that it wasn't from the Chinese part, but from the officials representing the country. So that is their problem, not Chinese problem. So we Africans must try to see what China is presenting to Africa and see how we can get it the right way. Because some people may make us look at China as an enemy. I have been to China. I know what the Chinese are doing. When you come to a language, the language is the culture of the people, the philosophy of the people. When you learn Chinese, you may think that we are the only ones learning Chinese. Chinese are busy learning African languages. They might not be learning Lingala or Shona or whatever, but they are learning Swahili. They have skilled speakers in Arabic. They have skilled speakers in Hausa. They have skilled speakers in Fulani. So they know. And all these languages, we need these languages. It is only how we use it that matters. Learning a foreign language is an advantage to you. There's no doubt about that. But it doesn't mean that when you learn Chinese, if we didn't learn English, what could we have been using now to talk? Because if you want to speak in Kiswahili, I don't understand. If I speak in Bembe, you don't understand. Another person speaks in Lingala. So we need language to communicate. But then when you learn the language, you still learn the culture of that language, because the culture tells you the usage of how you use the words. So we are not saying that we have to forgo our own African languages or what. But what I'm trying to say is that anybody learning Chinese is for your own advantage. Because if you speak Chinese somewhere, you make more friends. If you speak Arabic somewhere, you make more friends. If you speak Spanish, you speak German, you need, and Africa will need people with skills in these languages. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your submission. He has talked about the issue of language and is saying it shouldn't be a point of reference as China's penetrating tool to the African continent, or putting interest into African affairs. But like I said, the language, the purpose of an African learning the Chinese language would actually be communication. But like the way the Western people, while coming to capture Africa in the earlier days, came and started teaching just not formal education, but teaching their traditions and norms to the people of Africa. Somehow, somewhere, some Africans started thinking that they were Europeans, and therefore it became very easy for them to uphold the European values. That is what we're trying to mirror in these institutions that China is trying to establish. These institutes of Chinese language in almost all public universities. I'm sure even in Unilag in Nigeria.
Yeah, Confucius Institute in all over the world.
A teaching of Chinese language, which
there are many in Europe and USA. I will tell you of in 2018, there were many Europeans having scholarship to study in China compared to Africans. Yes, the European will tell you otherwise, but they are flooding to China to study. A lot.
Okay. It's all right. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir, for your submission. We're still moving on with this debate. I hope the other panelists of ours has joined the house finally. That is Gonza Kwame. Rodney, has he surfaced?
Not yet, not yet. Let me first reach out to him right now.
It's all right. Now, allow me bring in a few people from the audience to actually submit what they have to say about this question. The question is Africa selling itself to China? Is it? And from what many panelists have talked of, the arrow seems to be directed to the people. The people, because we have, he has just said, we have people who have poor negotiation skills. They go and negotiate with the excitement, forgetting the plight and forgetting the consequences that their deals would cause to the African countries. There's a lady who has put up her hand for some good time. I want to welcome you. That is Navunya. Navunya's iPhone 13 Pro Max. You're welcome. Please give your submission on this matter, riding on what the other panelists have been talking about.
Thank you very much. First of all, I would agree. Okay, I came in late. I won't lie. I came in late, but I found LM Nyong'o trying to say something, and yes, I was trying to agree with him. When he talked about these people coming to our countries, they work, they bring their workers with them, or they work and they literally the money is taken back to their countries, which is profit repatriation. Hello?
Could you unmute your video? Could you unmute your video? We would like
My
to see.
video.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, let me try to.
And also you tell the house your name, because we have.
Are you sure? Yeah. It is time for being in bed. I'm sorry about it. I didn't expect to be here.
Why I'm saying you unmute your video is that we are recording this and it's going to be published on a YouTube channel. So it's a visual debate. It's also unfortunate that I'm in a dark zone and my visuals cannot come out very well. But you can proceed with your deliberation, madam. You have muted yourself. You're muted yourself. Unmute yourself.
Hey, Navunya Gloria is my name again. And I'm a friend to LM. He's a very good friend to me. And what I would like to say is this: I came in a bit late, but I found LM talking about something about profit repatriation. That when these people come in and they work, we give them, okay, they give them contracts, they come in, work, then the money is taken back to their countries, and their countries are developed while we are here. And that was very right. I would like to agree with that. And I would like to also agree with the analysis he made. But this previous speaker, Salifo, I think, I'm sorry if I've pronounced your name, but I actually do not agree with you on some of the issues. I agree with you when you said that Africans, the people we send to sign our contracts are not very good people, because when they get there, they're excited over money. But I want you to stop thinking in a way that China is going to come here to help us, or it is here to do something for us because of what we did for it some time back. My dear, first of all, the first thing is, in this world, as we all know, there is nothing that is free. The roads these people are constructing for us, they're not free. Everything you see, as long as it is not by, like, it is not from your president, it's not from your government, it is from the outsiders, it is not free. Everything we pay for it. I hope some of us have read the book of Economic Hitmen by John Perkins. He explains that why now, if I have a question for you, my dear, if at all you think China is here to develop us, why is the focus of the China on roads? Yet in Africa, we all know that in Africa, we do not have hospitals. What we need most right now in Africa is health and education. But why is the focus of China on the roads, on such things? Do you know why it is on the roads? Because the roads are transporting its products, you get. The roads are helping to transport their products they are bringing to sell to Africa. Africa is a market to China. So China is using us in all ways. Yes, at the end of the day, we end up selling ourselves to China because our presidents do not, the good thing is this: we the youth, or we who have been through school and have started political science, we've gained knowledge. We've got to know why these things are the way they are. Those whites, or those Europeans, or those people are good at putting everything in writing. Be it good, be it bad, be it against them or not, they put everything in writing. How is it advantageous to us who have gone to school? Some of us have got to find these things and read them. Now, the problem with the people that are in power, or the people that are presenting us, or the people that stand up in politics and be strong, most of them did not study about politics. They do not read about politics. Even the people they get to advise them, sometimes they are sometimes unaware, or sometimes they can be aware, but since they feel like they know everything, they cannot listen to people from the outside. So these people write for themselves what they are, what their aims are, what they want. And it should be clear to you as per now that nothing is free. That one I would like to tell you, Salif, that nothing is free. China is not here because we helped it some years back. It is not here. If at all it was here for that issue, look at Africa. Look at what we need the most right now. China would be helping us in that section. But now China is on the roads. Which roads can transport its products to bring them here so that we can buy them. So that is that is one of the things I'd like to communicate. The other thing is, you've talked about the language, that the language is helping us, my dear. I would like to agree with there's a speaker, a student of Makerere, who talked about how hospitable we are, how those people came, the Arabs, we invited them, they brought their Islamic nature, what Islamic ways, culture. People became Muslims. Even up to now, you can see there are many Muslims. Now the colonialists came, the Portuguese came in with their Anglican we followed everything, we followed. My dear, I'm not agreeing with us feeling safe, or with us knowing the culture of China and the other thing is that you're saying English is helping us. English is helping us to communicate. It is not. It is only we are just in a time whereby we are caught up in this. You get, we're all colonized by these same people. So we are caught up in this. The issue is, we as Africans, we can get one common language as Africa. There is no way you can unite on something that does not belong to you. The English language will never belong to you. It is not yours. You have to take up what's yours, what's African. If I told you, you want even those youth to talk to even those youth, there is no way you're going to convince them very, very, very well in the English, although you can. But the issue is you have to first feel the Africanism in you. That will make you take up a common language. I think that was very good for East Africa, wanting to choose Swahili for a common language to it, or official language. You do not need the English. You do not need the Chinese. My dear, if I told you're going to be an African, if I told you're going to, you want to reach somewhere as Africa, be proud of yourself, be proud of your language, use what you have. Show those people that we are proud of what we have, not of what you people give to us. Right now, it's like you're enjoying the English. Me, I'm not enjoying the English. I enjoy my local language, but I can't speak it now. Because I was colonized, because you're also colonized. But if we're all having this African, this Swahili language, you're having the Swahili, he's having the Swahili, I'm having the Swahili. My dear, we would be proud. Those people would be now the ones learning our Swahili. But we are just assuming tightness on these people. I'm telling you, China does not want us. Although you look at the contracts about what, there is nothing that is favorable to us. Those people are colonizers. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Gloria Navunya. She has been very, very eloquent and clear on her submission. I hope the other gentleman, Salif, will be in position to rebut some of our views at a later time. I would like to bring in Sevunya Emmanuel, who has been putting up his hand for some time. You're welcome, sir. Please give us your views. You can unmute yourself, unmute your video so that we can see you. Tell us where you're speaking from.
I'm Sevunya Emmanuel. That is my name. I don't know whether I want to appreciate the organizers of this. Thank you so much for the initiative. I hope you are getting me clearly.
Yeah, you are clear. You are clear, loud and clear.
Yeah, I want to appreciate the efforts and the initiatives. Thank you so much for your making Africa a better continent. But on the issue, I want to first of all read back some of the key points raised by several speakers. Talked about almost in every workspace in Africa here, especially in Uganda, which I 100% agree with. Look at the Entebbe Express Highway. Couldn't Africans do that out? We have engineers from Makerere, from everywhere, from Ghana. But the issue here, I think we may not continue lamenting every now and then about the Chinese. We need to think out solutions. When you are to continue lamenting, we shall always cry, and years are going to pass by. Then remember, we need to pass on and the next generation. So the best thing we can do is to think out the best solutions. According to me, I think, unlike my sister Navunya, when you're talking about unity and you're saying that that it is that we need to come up with a specific language. I know about this, the issue of colonization and the English and so on and so forth, the French. But now we have to accept the fact that we are into the problem. But then what can we do about it? Because for the case of Uganda, if you want to eliminate English, and so which other language are you going to bring in place? Because I don't think when you say that let us make Luganda the official language of Uganda, I don't think the Basoga will accept that. If you talk about the Luo, you cannot say that let the Luo language be the official one, and you think the Baganda will accept that. So we cannot now go into that dynamics. Okay, I don't know, that's my own assumption. We cannot go into that right now, but I think we can go on solving these things gradually, but we go on with the most we go on with the priority first. For instance, on my own view, I would assume we first of all work on our mental space. Believe it or not, the main issue as to why you are having the Chinese on top of having the poor leadership, we have nothing to do about that. We need to understand that the leadership in our continent, Africa in particular, and Uganda most especially, we have poor governance, poor leaders who do not even want to think. Just like one of the key speakers say that they want to look out, they cannot look out for how best they can influence our ideas outside there so that we can get as much contracts, as much labor, our own labor working outside, or even having our own labor, do our own things. But I think we need to work so much on our mental space, which is being done through such platforms. I want to thank you, the organizer of this, because if we can always discuss this, we remind ourselves, because we are the next administrators. Believe it or not, my dear organizer, tomorrow you will be in some office. Tomorrow you will be somewhere, acting as a very important individual, a policymaker. Are you getting it? An influencer. Because now that if these people who are in power right now have failed, what is the solution then? It is us, the coming up leaders, who should grow up knowing this, but not even knowing is not enough. We need to understand that we need to prioritize on our own things. We need to bring in the African aspects first. Why do you give a job to the Chinese when you have your fellow African around? But again, before you give the African the job, the question is, do we have the expertise? Do we have the skills? Do we have the potential to go on and pick those contracts? That is the other important thing. So we need to concentrate on the mental space. After working on our mental space, we need to ensure that we advise ourselves to get the necessary skills to do these things. Because you might complain about the Chinese taking on the Entebbe Express Highway. The question is, if the contract is given to a Ugandan company, an engineering company in Uganda, how would that company do exactly what the Chinese did there? That is the question. We have a lot of issues to address. We have a lot of corruption. We have a lot of favoritism. We have a lot of nepotism. We have a lot of problems as Africans. So the elites, we continue adding the sense of Africanization, and on top of that, ensuring that our friends, our fellow Africans are provided with the necessary skills. We shall continue lamenting about the same issue over and over. Let us use the current situation. We benefit out of it because we are already into it. You can no longer go back into it, because if you are telling me that colonialism is bad and so on and so forth, but you're already there. Are you going to tell me that you're going to wake up and say no more English, no more French, no more Chinese in schools? It is right now. It seems impossible. We work together as leaders. We continue having forms. We continue spreading the good news about that we can do it, the positivity in us. So I beg to submit, but as I submit, we should ensure that we, the Africans, we organize and we put right our mental space. Then we look for a way forward. Other than that, we shall continue lamenting, and as we go on, we die off. And the next generation will also be in the same story. So I beg that that should be put into consideration. The last point I want to say, I want to send my sincere condolences to the family of our dear late, the Right Honorable Speaker, Jacob Bolanya. So sad for Uganda. Some of them, I don't know whether you've talked about it. And finally, I want to thank you for this platform. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much, Emmanuel Sebunya. He has sent a condolence. By our friends from the other parts of Africa, Uganda has lost the Speaker of the Parliament, Right Honorable Jacob Olanya Lokeri. While Sebunya was speaking, I want to actually bank on what he has said to bring a quotation that was made one time by Professor Lumumba Steele, the Kenyan professor of law, who said Africans are captives of lamentations and sorrows. They keep on lamenting and castigating bad things happening in society, but are not interested in coming up to do what can actually remove these problems from society. Sebunya has brought a very serious issue that the problem is still with us. Everyone who is talking here is bringing the problems to us. We, the people of Africa, we have got to demystify the minds and prepare the young minds that are coming up to actually be normal people who can do things with integrity without having cheap popularity of going into useless contracts which are not fair, but instead selling the interests of the people. An example I can bring to you is when the government employed, there's a gentleman who was employed to oversee the Uganda Airlines, who went and carried the whole of his village members to come and take up jobs without even considering the aspects of meritocracy. So there's been a lot of corruption and a lot of lackluster in the way people do things in public offices. And to me, I think that's why some of these people actually go ahead to sign unfair contracts, bring policies which are not, fair, but also still commenting on his submission. We need to look at the quality of certain things. There are things which I am sure if contracted to Ugandan companies, perhaps the efficiency would be wanting. Because if you can look at some of the roads done in Uganda here by some of our home companies have actually been shoddy. Maybe what we need to do is to ensure that the contracts are always favoring the African countries. I say this not as an expert, but we are here to debate and come up with the best information. Nabunya is still putting up her hand. I want to bring back the first speaker we had here. If you're in, you can respond to some of these submissions. That is Bob. Bob, you can come up and give. Salifu, I'm going to bring you back. Nyavesh Salifu, I'm going to bring you back shortly. But let me first bring back Bob on the ground to respond to some of the submissions that have been made by the audience. Those who have just joined, those who are on, who have just joined, we're having a discussion on Africa. The question is Africa selling itself? Is it a problem? Is it an African problem that the Chinese have taken over the space in business, industrialization, agriculturalization? Everything in Africa is now in the hands of the Chinese. Welcome, Bob.
Bob is out, I think, right now. He has issues with this network. He's not on right now.
Okay, let me bring Salif Nyave. Salif Nyave, you may please come in and respond to Nabunya Gloria's submission, and she's still very active. I see her hand is up. Gloria, you're going to come after Salif. Yes, Salif.
Yeah, thank you very much, Comrade Oremo. It's not actually like to respond to Comrade Glory, because it's not kind of like a dialogue between myself and her. It's about us trying to give some contribution to what we think. Yes, you will see that the projects that are done by Chinese in Africa are not decided by the Chinese. Our governments decide the project they want to do and look for funding. That is how they do it. And I'll tell you that the Chinese are not always the first people that are